Hey guys, and welcome. Hope you enjoy this intro music. Welcome to Creatively Me with Bree. As you guessed it, I'm Bree. So today we are going to do a watercolor watermelon as well as a watercolor strawberry. And in another video, I will show you how I turn this into a seamless pattern. So as you can see here, I have myself a sketch. Those of you who've been with me a while know that I usually suggest the sketch and then I forget the sketch. This time I remembered the sketch. The brush that I'm presently using is called Old Beach, and it comes with the Procreate app. You can locate this brush under the artistic brush set in the brush library. Every brush that I use during this creation is from Procreate. So there are no customized brushes or anything special you have to download. All of this comes from inside the app itself. On that first layer of using the Old Beach brush, I do not lift it. That's how I'm getting those nice hard edges, but also getting the texture in the middle. And as you can see on the next layer, what I did was press back down so it adds the effect of building up watercolor, just like you would see in real life. And for the smudge tool, also located in the artistic brush set in the brush library, all the way at the top is called Wild Light. And this brush, Wild Light, does really well at blending while also keeping some texture in there and not having it have that too watered down appearance where essentially you would lose the texture of the paper. So one of the ways that I think helps continue to perpetuate this idea of authentic watercolor despite it being digital is making sure that you blur the outside edges at random, just to kind of make it look as though your brush lost control over the water and engagement with the paint. So I am just continuing to smudge out those harsher edges. Eventually, you won't notice them because I will be blending them with other colors. But yep, I'm just lightening it all up. And you do want some variation. So again, it's okay if, you keep some of the texture while you blend out some of the rest. All right, now I'm picking a much lighter pink color and I'm going to go on top with that Old Beach brush again. And as you can see, I just pressed down once and moved it around so that way you can see how the paint sort of builds up on those finer edges. And then on some of those edges, I will be smudging them out and just lessening them so they don't look so harsh, but definitely keeping some of it because, again, it gives that really nice illusion of paint building up the way that it does when you are actually painting with watercolor. I'm sorry if my narration is kind of dull, 2D, flat, if you will, today. I'm still getting over being sick. So the less I talk, the less likely I am to cough. There's also not much to comment on here. What I tried to do this time around in my editing is I tried to keep it all in real time unless there was something that I felt like could be sped up. But I really did want to have every nook and cranny of how I brought this together to show so that people could, keep up with it. I can't talk, keep up with it. And also see everything that I'm doing. I do tend to, when I edit, sort of take out some of the unnecessary steps. So here I am. I chose a slightly darker, more saturated red than I did before. And now I'm just building it up once again as though I took my brush and just really put some more saturation into this spot on my painting. Just softening up that edge a little bit. When you're using this smudge tool, it really does help it's a very, you have to pull a lot in order for it to really get moving. And I think that's why I like it, because it doesn't overdo. You can see how many strokes it's taking me to really move the paint around. And I like that because you don't overcommit and it allows you to really build on it. And so, yes, now you can see I've merged all the layers together. I'm now going to take a darker green color, not picking up that brush because I want to keep those hard edges and I want that texture in there. You can see that again that I'm mixing it, and it's not even mixing. What I'm doing actually is just smudging the green alone, because the green and red are not currently merged onto the same layer. So this was a part that I decided I could go a little bit faster in, because I didn't feel like you guys probably really wanted to watch this in slow motion. So this is me just softening up those edges again, just sort of blending it out on the green. And then I had, it run off on that corner over there because I don't want it to look too perfect. Watercolor, I think one of the most beautiful things about watercolor is the unpredictability of some of the strokes and how the paint and the water interact. The hard edges and the soft edges and how it all comes together. I will also be the first to admit I'm not great at watercolor. So if this doesn't appear as watercolor aesthetic as you would think it should be, I validate that. Absolutely. Though I am a seasoned artist, there's still some techniques and types of mediums that I'm still learning and still, mastering, I think is the word I want to say. There's always room for improvement and growth, and yeah, so I'm still learning. However, I'm really enjoying the process of painting watercolor digitally. It's been a lot of fun. And for newer artists and content creators, I just want to be honest about this process so that you don't get overwhelmed. This project, though I have edited it down to 20 minutes, it probably took me closer to 30. And this is not my first time painting that watermelon or strawberry. I had to practice first. As a content creator, it's a lot easier to demonstrate how to effectively paint and create certain projects if I literally do it several times over and practice and really figure out what's the most simplistic and basic, easy, straightforward way to get this project done. So in order to give you guys the most efficient way to paint some of these things, I actually have to paint them once or twice before I even record it. So don't be surprised if you have to practice painting a certain type of item multiple times before you really start to get a sense of how the brushes work, what techniques work best for you. That's just part of learning. And I think sometimes we really lose touch with that because of our desire to get everything right on the first try. And perfectionism plays a huge role in so many people's lives. I'm speaking from personal experience. And, I think it's just really important that we give ourselves just lots of grace, understanding, and knowing that even the most seasoned, best artists, it takes them hours to complete some of their masterpieces. It's taken them several years to develop their skill sets. I used to look at people that were better than me, and believe me, there's plenty of artists that are, in fact, better than me. And I used to go, wow, I'll never be that. And that mentality, unfortunately, actually was keeping me there. I was not wrong. Of course, I'd never be as good as them, because that was where I would stop. I'd go, yeah, I guess I'm never going to be better than them, or as good as them, at least. Not that I wanted to be better. I didn't want to be better than anyone. I just wanted to be as good. Okay. And the reality is I was never going to get there because that mentality kept making me go, feeling helpless. It kept me feeling like, why bother? It demotivated me rather than inspired me. And so I really like to be as realistic with you guys as I can about my projects and my process. I have spent way too much time in my life holding myself back because I couldn't do it perfectly, or I wasn't at the skill set that I wanted to be at. And I'm finally in a place where I'm okay with, the growing pains that come with learning new skills, and it's worth it. Right now, I'm still using that old beach brush to make those seeds, and I'm gonna go right back in there using that smudge tool, which is the wild light brush in the artistic brush set, and I'm just making it so the it's very dark brown / black seeds are not so prevalent. And I honestly think that by lightening them up, it really helped bring the watercolor illusion together for this piece. Watercolor or not, I've never painted a watermelon before, so this was also a first for me on that as well, and I really enjoyed it. Watercolor, I can talk, guys. Watermelon, honestly, is stunning. It's crazy sometimes when you really pause and you look at food and plants and nature, like what exists naturally in the world. Watermelon has these really vibrant, wonderful complementary colors that just naturally exist. And I think it's so fascinating and aesthetically pleasing all at the same time. Maybe that's just me, but I think it's neat that there is a edible fruit out in the world that are red and green and beautiful, and it's so cool. Don't get me started on like mushrooms. Mushrooms are crazy. If you guys have never looked up like exotic mushrooms, like ones that are probably, I would say, not edible, like go check them out. Mushrooms are magical. And I'm not talking about those kinds of magic mushrooms. I mean, they're just so pretty and mysterious and amazing. So I'm going to show how right now I'm going to hit alpha lock. Alpha lock. Yes. I'm going to hit white. I'm going to select that white, and then I'm going to fill that layer. I'm going to duplicate it a few times just to make sure any of the see-through parts are no longer see-through. That's actually how you keep it, so that because you are working watercolors, so that it doesn't, the background doesn't bleed through your painting. So like if I had a blue background and I didn't put that white under layer to my watermelon, it would have bled through. And it would have disrupted the colors that I created for the watermelon itself. I hope that makes sense. If anyone needs me to explain that, you just let me know. I'm happy to elaborate in a way that's slower, with more words, better thought out. Now I'm making the strawberry, and I didn't pre-plan this strawberry. I just decided I wanted to make one for this particular project. I had practiced the strawberry. I just didn't intend on making it for this project, but I ended up doing it anyways. And I'm really proud of myself because you know what I did? I sketched it. Yep, I did. I have said it so many times to you guys to not neglect the sketch. And I actually feel like because I've said it so many times to you guys, it's finally starting to take root in myself. And it does not look like a strawberry, which is why I'm using that warp tool to, reshape a bit there. And then basically for the strawberry, I'm going to do almost the identical thing that I have done to that watermelon. Essentially same color scheme, dark seeds, same brushes. There I am using that old beach brush, not lifting it up, making sure I get all that texture in, getting that nice hard line on the outside of the strawberry. And then I'm going to add additional layers now by lifting up my brush, drawing it in. And then I'm going to, in a moment, probably, add a little more. I think I even add one more, like a little bit darker of a red. And then I do my blending or my smudging, both. Sometimes you smudge, sometimes you blend. It depends. This time, I feel like I'm smudging. This seems like smudging to me. Am I the only one that thinks that? But see, now this feels like blending, where I'm like, okay, now I'm blending together two different colors because the other one was the same color. This is a different type of red. Look at that texture that's still in there. Again, when you use the smudge tool, sometimes you quite literally will lose your texture, which is why I enjoy the wild light brush so much when it comes to smudging and holding on to that texture for watercolor pieces. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You have about 4 or 5 minutes left. Let's see, 5 minutes left. If you've made it this far, you're a trooper. I love your dedication. If you didn't make it this far, you'll not hear this, but I just want you to know I still believe in you, even if you don't know that I believe in you. What I will say real quick for the exterior of the brush, the exterior brush that I used for erasing anything I didn't want on the watermelon and the strawberry is a charcoal brush. I believe it's the 4, it's the 4B compressed. So if there were any edges that I needed gone or anything that just needed a little bit of like texture, but I just didn't want it to be as obvious that I had used a hard edge, I used the charcoal 4B brush. Don't believe me? Try it out. This is my favorite part. I don't know if that's like a neurodivergent thing or maybe this is aesthetic to other people as well, like very satisfying. But I love putting down another layer where it looked like a harsh layer of color and I'm like, ooh, how's it going to blend in now? All right, and same technique as before. I'm all about repetition and consistency, right? This is the same brush. It's the Old Beach. I'm not picking up my brush other than to go to the next leaf. I felt like this one was too long, so I resized it just a little bit. That felt better. I'm doing the creating white. See how doubled up it looks to very, very vibrant green, but when I add white to the background, it shows that texture. And that's what we want to keep. So I ended up doing that so that way we can see what that texture looks like and keep it intact. And then I'm also going to, now I'm going to blend out some of that green and add in some other greens. There we go. Now, I will say if you're really interested in like watercolor is your jam, it's your style of choice, it's your medium of choice, your digital medium of choice. There are brush sets that you can purchase from websites like Design Bundles, Creative Market. I'm trying to think. I know there's a couple other. Oh man, of course I can't think of them, but there's definitely websites out there where you can purchase other artists who have created brush sets and they will include, some of them will include watercolor brush sets. Just make sure that you read the licensing options on them before purchasing. Some will be for commercial use and some will be for personal use. So you just want to make sure that you grab the right one for what you intend on using it for. And so, yeah, I've doubled up that strawberry. I just did the alpha lock, fill it in white. I'm unlocking that alpha lock. I'm going to combine these 2 together, 3 together, just kidding, so that that white background gets maintained so we don't lose that texture to see how that background is dark. You don't see that because that white's there. So it's important that we do make sure that we take that step. Now I'm doing the final touches on this strawberry. We're almost there, guys. Like, you got a minute left. Less than a minute. And just doing that same thing. Just smudging away at the harshness of that black and just really giving it that watercolor effect of lightness, the like softer brush strokes meets the harsher lines and the way that the paint builds up on itself. And yeah, I'm using some dark red here to create that shadow, that sunkenness that happens from the seeds, because the seeds don't just hang out directly on that like top layer of the strawberry. It divots in. Now, obviously, this is a stylized version because, well, strawberries have way more seeds than that. But here you go, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please make sure that you subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys real soon. Take care.